Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Bar Down Podcast. I am your host, Vexum, with the face reveal, here with my man, Marvel. Marvel, give him a what's up.
What's going on, guys?
So today we had a lot of crazy action live from the RLCS World Championships out in Texas. So we are going to break all of that down here for you today. I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go, Marvel Man?
I think I'm ready to go. This is going to be fun.
I am so excited. We've had some production upgrades as well, so let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Starting off with Optic versus G2 Esports. This was our first game of the day, or not our first game of the day, but it's the one we're going to start with G2 4-0 sweeping Optic Gaming. Marvelman, what were your thoughts with this game?
I don't think there was much surprise here. I remember we were talking about it last night, and Optic just did not execute, like how they have been in the past couple of games in the tournament, especially in the Swiss tournament. G2 just swept them. I mean, they absolutely cleaned the floor with them. They couldn't really keep up. It seemed like they were very slow, and I heard the announcers, they just constantly were saying how aggressive and how much pressure G2 is putting on Optic, and it was clear to everybody, that's clearly what G2 was doing. So yeah, good for them.
Yeah, G2 sweeping Optic. It never really felt like it was a contest, to be totally honest with you, Marvel. It felt like G2 was just the faster team, all in all, the better reads, the quicker team, and that's what we expected coming out. I believe we had G2 winning this 4-2, but honestly, the sweep did not surprise me at all. I was not surprised whatsoever.
Yeah.
But moving right along here, our second game of the day was actually the matchup between Furia and Carmine Corp. Now, this one was one that was really, honestly shocking to me as a viewer. Going into it, I thought for sure this was a game that we would see going to 7 full games, but unfortunately for Carmine Corp, Furia ends up taking this one by a series score of 4-1. What were your thoughts on this one, Marvel?
I thought it was a great game. Honestly, I think K-Corp, I think they kind of choked it. And I hate to say that, and I want to say that lightly, but they had him in the very beginning. I mean, game one, straight off the bat, because the series is 4-1. That one that they got was game one. And they had him. They had the pressure. They had the just mechanics. They were just on top of them. And something within game two just, I don't know, it hit them like a wall. And just slowly, it just started getting worse and worse for K-Corp. And I honestly felt bad. I was really hoping, I know last time we were talking about our predictions, and I think you chose Furia, and I was talking about like, oh, no doubt Furia's going to win. But I really hope Carmine Corp can actually, pull out the win. And sadly, they cannot. They tried. They put up a battle, but they just couldn't pull it out on this one.
Yeah, indeed. We had it going 7. We thought this was going to be an absolute throwdown. The way Carmine Corp is coming into the day playing, coming off a rather hot spring split, definitely figuring things out, and especially how they played in the Winter Major, making some good moves, making some good plays, coming up. It seemed like they were trending in the right direction. Then they come into Worlds and snap. It was popping. They were absolutely obliterating everyone through the Swiss bracket. I thought they were going to give Furia all they could handle. But in the end, Furia just proving once again that they are a top World Championship contending team, which a few months ago, I don't think you would have caught anybody saying. I would have thought that just about everybody would have been in agreement that Furia, although a good team, is not a team capable of going all the way with it and winning a World Championship. But now, I think you have to acknowledge that fact.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, I think they had a post interview after the game, and they were talking to one of the players, and they were asking him, they're like, are you going to make it to the championship? And he was like, well, I'm not sure about that, but definitely top 4. They're confident, and that's kind of scary.
Absolutely. Furia, definitely a scary team. But talking about another scary team, let's talk about Team Falcons versus Dignitas. Marvel, what were your thoughts on that matchup?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. They kind of had my heart racing a little bit in the beginning. I think, what did we say for our prediction? I think we said 4-0, clean sweep, right, from Falcons?
I thought they were going to win at 4-2 and 6, and that is what happened. They ended up 4-2ing.
Okay, maybe it was just discussed or something. But yeah, no, in the beginning, it felt like the Falcons were learning about Dignitas. I felt like they were trying to understand their play style, and I almost felt like that first game was like a throwaway game because they just didn't play to the expectation that I know they can. But then they absolutely just wrecked him in the second game, and then it just kind of kept going back and forth, which is the part that was kind of, getting your heart racing, like, what's going on here? Come on, Falcons. But eventually, they pulled through, they got ahead, and they hit some nasty mechanics. I mean, they are absolute gods on the controller. It is ridiculous. But good for them. There was no doubt that Falcons was going to win, so.
Yeah, being a Team Falcons fan myself, I definitely have a lot to say about this game. One, we thought Dignitas, it was either the best matchup that Falcons could have gotten or the worst, because Dignitas, as inconsistent as they are phenomenal when they're on. Definitely a top 8 World Championship contending roster, I would argue, when they're on. But when they're off, they're barely a top 16 bubble team. It seems like the inconsistency with Dignitas has been there really since Winter Major, and today, unfortunately for Falcons, they were on. They played a really strong series. Their strategy seemed to be let Falcons run at them and use all their boost and mechanics on offense and try to get them on the counterattack, which is definitely something I would watch for going forward, especially as Falcons go ahead and play FaZe tomorrow, because Falcons, they're a beast, man. They are. Normally, their play style over the last couple competitions has been much of that Middle East style with a lot of 50-50s, a lot of slow play. You're going to win a game by 1 or 2 goals because you're playing a very tight-knit, close game, but you're putting yourself in the optimal position for 50-50s and collisions. Today, they showed you the mechanical gods that all of them are on the sticks. And the segment I pulled up for the video here while it's playing in the background was the overtime from Game 4 against Dignitas, where it seemed like Falcons were just on offense literally the entire overtime. So Falcons, definitely a squad to be contend with, looking in peak form. And the scary part, TRK, the arguable and I would say undisputed #1 player in the world currently, did not have a good day for Team Falcons. I don't think he was playing his best, and Falcons still took care of Dignitas, I would argue, with relative ease. So everyone else in this tournament, in this competition, definitely needs to be a little bit frightened going forward. But talking about some frightening things going forward, let's go ahead and talk now about that FaZe versus the club matchup. And just lead in with your general thoughts about the game itself, and then we'll get to some of the talking points that we had laid down a little bit.
The game itself was honestly really entertaining. We said it yesterday about how excited we were for this match, and it delivered to the expectation, at least in the beginning. It was such like a stalemate, and I think they went to overtime. And I want to say that like every overtime they went to had like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I mean, they were long overtimes, and it was just constant like solo play, like slow play, and it's just like I can't explain it. I mean, it's just crazy, and they just kept going back and forth, and it almost felt like nothing was going to get done. And even the announcers were talking about it. They're like, man, like I'm not going to get home to eat dinner. Like, what is this? Like, this is ridiculous. It was honestly just crazy how they were just so evenly matched. But in the end, it was very entertaining. I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people also enjoyed it. So yeah, I like the game.
Yeah, definitely a series that we saw coming, right? We said it was going to go 6. We said FaZe Clan was going to win it in 6 by a score of 4-2. That's exactly what happened. And we also labeled how the game was going to go down. We said it was going to be the battle, the South American mechanics that they're known for, flip resetting literally any ball, led by, of course, KV1, arguably one of the top 2 or 3 1v1 players in the world, joined, of course, by Astromic and Lost, the members of the club, facing off against AJ First Killer and Sipical, who are mechanical geniuses in their own right. It was going to be a very fast, in-your-face, offensive battle, very evenly matched teams, and very, very equal and how the rosters are built, to be totally, completely honest with you. So we saw it coming. We saw how even of a matchup, how fun of a matchup it was going to be. But it is, of course, not without any controversy. Now, for those of you who did not watch it, there was a couple controversial moments here today during the broadcast, and we're actually going to play some of them for you. Starting the first one, during Game 3. So the club went ahead 2-0 in the series. Then, during this pivotal Game 4, after FaZe Clan finally got one back, this kickoff seemed to happen. Now, you're going to see off this kickoff, Sipical, his boost seemingly doesn't work. They move. It results in a kickoff goal. And it later comes back that his controller, his boost, something was not working right. And this happens very more typically than it probably should, but it definitely happens quite frequently inside of the RLCS. And so really nothing out of the ordinary here until FaZe Clan would go on to win that Game 4. And then the pivotal Game 5, when the series is tied 2-2, winner of this game in overtime, mind you, next goal will have double match point and have 2 chances to put the other team away. And then, unfortunately, it seems tragedy strikes again. Because we go to overtime, the kickoff happens, and, well, I'll just let you guys watch. The same exact thing happens. You can see FaZe on the right, devastated. Sipical's controller, the boost doesn't register, something doesn't happen. And definitely a conversational piece, to say the least. It was later discussed and later overturned by the officials that they went into the game files and actually reviewed that, yes, Sipical did indeed hit boost and it didn't register within the game, so therefore they were going to restart the game from fresh overtime because that was only 3 seconds in. And then FaZe would go on to win that overtime and with that momentum win Game 6 and win overall take the series. However, there's been a little bit of conversation on the internet, on the Reddit, that we've seen. When you look at the clip a little bit, and I'll go ahead and pull it up for you all again, it almost looks like Sipical is drifting to the right, or to the left rather, almost like he's going for a fake kickoff. And so it really begs the question, was this just a scuffed kickoff or a scuffed fake? And they used this glitch as a avenue of an excuse, because I question how much can the devs, the Psyonix employees, really look into the computer files to find out if he pressed boost. And two, if they say that's what the issue was, after they scored this goal in this Game 5 overtime, you can see Sypical holding up a controller, a new controller, in almost a mark of honor, indicating it was a controller issue, not what Psyonix said, a issue with the game file itself, registering the boost, but not registering it in the game. So you have two different stories coming out here on an already very controversial topic, and I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are, Marvel, about this whole fiasco.
It was definitely weird. I remember I was watching the game, and I told you I was out doing stuff, and like one moment I was, grabbing me some lunch, watching the game, came back, we're having some technical difficulties. So I was like, okay, driving home, came back, game's on, sweet. Go to the restroom, come back, technical difficulties. I'm like, what is going on? I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I was like, I don't know how this keeps happening. And so I think for it to keep on happening over and over makes it legit, but also the argument with the controller, I'm with you. If it is a problem within the game, if they say that, oh, sorry, there was a bug in the game that said that the boost doesn't register, not the controller, it's just the game didn't register, holds up a new controller, how does that line up? Like you said, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know how it went, and it definitely, works out for them, like strategically, if they are trying to, move around the system, because they were down in those first two games. Like I mentioned, the club was absolutely taking it to them. So it begs the question, were they scared? Were they trying to think of something to get around it? Don't really know. That's why it's controversy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a situation, unfortunately, that I think we'll never know the answer to. The only three players who know the answer to this are AJ First Killer, and perhaps maybe even only Sypical himself, as to the issue, the exact issue, and if it was in fact legit. And I don't want to accuse any players of anything. I want to make that explicitly clear. I'm just merely bringing this forth as a talking point because it's something that's going around on the internet, and definitely something that I think the RLCS needs to have more of a firm, concrete rule. Because for this to happen twice during the World Championships, you're playing with the other team's emotions. The club thinking they had a goal to tie the game in Game 3. The club thinking they had a go-ahead game-winning goal to put them on double match point going forward in Game 6 and 7. Only to have it ripped away twice. And after like a 26-minute wait, I think it was, while they did the initial investigation for the overtime occurrence. Definitely not a good look for the RLCS, and even worse if you're a fan of the club or a player or affiliated with the club in some way, shape, or form. But nevertheless, that's the situation, and hopefully it gets resolved, and hopefully they come forth with a more concrete ruling with some more details about exactly what happened, because it's still very foggy to, I think, the average viewer. And even your hardcore fans, so hopefully the RLCS will come out and release something. But let's move off that, and let's talk about a little bit what we're going to see tomorrow, Marvel. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Alright, so starting off, the first matchup tomorrow is going to be Moist Esports versus Semper Esports for the upper bracket. Tomorrow will all be the upper bracket finals from Groups A and Groups B. So we'll have Moist Semper, BDS version 1, G2 Furia, and FaZe versus Falcons. We'll start with Moist and Semper. What are your thoughts with this one, Marvel?
It's interesting. Moist is a great team. Semper is a great team. Both, no doubt, could probably take each other in a certain circumstance. But I don't know about Semper that much. I know how good Moist is. But with Semper, I haven't seen too much of them. Just because I've been watching other games. So it's to the point to where if I choose Semper, is that do I know for certain that they can beat Moist? Do I know enough about the team? And I really don't. But I can't stand the catchphrase, "Let's get wet." That is the most annoying thing. So, I'm gonna go with Semper. I think, one, because I've said it from day one. I'm an underdog kind of guy. I like the underdog story. I don't think anybody was expecting Semper to play as well as they have been at this point in the series. So I really hope they can pull out the win. Show Moist, you're not the only competitive team out here. Give them a run for their money. So yeah, I'm gonna say Semper. I'm gonna put it to a game 7, 4-3, just because I know how good Moist can be.
So you think Semper is going to take it home?
I'm going for Semper, yeah.
Wow, that is that's honestly really surprising, Marvel. You're going with Semper.
I'm going with Semper. I mean, maybe it's just because I can't stand Moist that much. I'm kind of being a little biased here. I know that's not really, like a logistical thing. Moist is a great team. I'm not saying that they're not going to go out there and beat them. They could definitely do it. I have no doubt in my mind. They're a great team, super aggressive. I mean, they are like the equivalent of the Falcons, just mechanical gods. They know how to play the game. So I could definitely see them beating Semper. I have no doubt about that. But I really just want Semper to win. I have that gut feeling. I really want them to come out, play their best game they've ever had this whole entire series, and just really show most what they have.
Yeah, and Semper, definitely a strong team in their own right. Of course, coming through the wild card with a record of 3-0, taking Endpoint to 7 to match up against Moist, who 4-2'd Space Station in their group play day 1 matchup. I just think the mechanics, the speed, and the just overall consistency of Moist is going to be way too much to handle. I think I'm definitely going to take Moist in a tightly contested series, I would say. I would say Moist in... Give me Moist in 6. What are your thoughts, Marvel? You how many games you want?
You mean like for the Semper game?
For Semper versus Moist. What do you think?
I'm saying, I was gonna say game 7. I still think I'm gonna stick with game 7, but I can definitely see Moist taking 4-2 on them. I can definitely see that. That's a good.
So you're saying Semper in 7?
Yep.
Has a nice ring to it. Semper in 7. Okay. Well, Semper in 7 is what he says. So let's talk about our next matchup. Let's talk about Team BDS taking on Version 1. What a game this is going to be. I'm so excited to see this one play out. What are your thoughts for this one, Marvel?
BDS is a solid team, and you gotta think Version 1 beat NRG. I mean, they've been on the ropes. Is NRG, dead? Are they not dead? Are they stagnant? What are they doing? Nobody really knows. So for Version 1 to beat NRG, how much of a feat is that, And they're a great team, but I don't think they're better than BDS. I think BDS is cleaner. I think they will overwhelm Version 1, and I don't think that they'll be able to hold on to a strong lead there. So I'm going to say BDS. I think they're going to take probably just Game 5. I'm going to say 4-1.
You're saying BDS in Game 5?
Yeah.
Wow. Man, you and me could not disagree more today. I think Version 1 is an incredibly strong team. I've been on my milk crate before saying I would have thought they would have been the #1 seed coming out of Wildcard. I believe they're a very strong team. And despite what many say about NRG, I recently watched the replay of that game from just today. Just because, sometimes you watch a game, you can be prisoner of the moment. And I wanted to be able to talk about Version 1, knowing that this matchup was coming in more of a clean, clear light. So I rewatched the NRG Version 1 matchup, and man, NRG... I knew they played solid the other day, but upon watching how many shots, and good shots, quality, peppering shots, they put on the net against Version 1, the Version 1 defense was just simply way too strong. They were a brick wall. That on top of their counterattack strategy, beast mode, elevating into this player that all of us thought he could become as a young prospect. Now he's kind of blossoming in front of our eyes on the world stage. Version 1 is definitely a top-tier team. Not to say BDS isn't, but, man, Version 1 is they're just built different. So I think I'm gonna have to say, version 1 is gonna take this 4-2. And you said what? BDS 4-1?
Yeah, I'm saying 4-1 BDS.
Wow, that is
Separate wavelengths tonight.
Yeah, that is surprising. That's really surprising, honestly. All right, so tossing it to the other side now of our bracket, talking about the B side of our bracket, we have G2 versus Furia. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Marvel?
G2 played really well today. They kept it together. They stayed very aggressive. They almost had control of the whole game, you know. So they played against Optic. I got him backwards. Yeah, so they played against Optic. So like again, Optic is not up to par. You know that they're good, but I just think G2 is better. So I mean that's why it seemed like it was controlling. But Furia was on fire. Now that has a catch to it. Furia is on fire. They had the whole game to themselves. They were absolutely rocking it. I think Furia is going to definitely take the win on this one against G2. For the series, though, I'm debating if I want to say 4-2 or 4-1. I think I'm going to say 4-2. Just because G2 is playing pretty solid today. So if they can bring that again tomorrow, I definitely think they might, give Furia some challenge.
So what are you saying for the series?
Oh, 4-2 Furia.
4-2 on the side of Furia. This is a tough one, Marvel. This is a tough one. This is extraordinarily tough. It really, really is. I want to say Furia. I do. I really want to say Furia.
Didn't say it.
I just think that G2 is just too much to handle. I'm so on the fence, right? Because Furia, I think, is kind of on the line of trending up, where we have G2 not trending down, but definitely the Gamers 8. I can't unsee the just mishaps they had at Gamers 8, not even really making any sort of a run whatsoever. So I think I'm going to stick with G2. I'm going to ride G2 because sweeping Optic today, I thought was something that they wouldn't do. I thought sweeping Optic was phenomenal. So I think I'm going to take G2 just because they seem to be in shape. I wouldn't be surprised when I mean it. I mean it when I say I would not be surprised to see this go either way. But I think G2 versus Fury is going to be one of the games of the day. I just think G2 is going to be too much. I will say I'm going to say 4-2 again. I don't know why I'm saying 4-2 for everything. I could see it going 7. But I don't know. I just think G2 is just going to be too much to handle for the Furia boys. But that leads us to our last match in this preview. We have FaZe Clan versus Team Falcons. Marvel, what are your thoughts here?
Falcons played absolutely amazing today. They had me a little shaky in the beginning. You also have to think, though, I think this is their first game. Yeah, this is their first game of the whole series, and they were going up against a wildcard team. So, the wildcard team was already into it. They've already, kind of learned and warmed up and all that. And this is Falcons jumped right in. So I don't blame them for being a little shaky in the beginning. But now they got the game underneath their belt. I have no doubt that they can beat FaZe Clan tomorrow. But FaZe Clan is very good. They know how to work the ball. They know how to hit trick shot. I mean, they are something else. So I'm not going to discredit them at all. I definitely think Falcons needs to play good in order to win this. There's no doubt about they can't go in autopilot mode. They have to really focus on this game. I think series, Falcons. I don't want to say 4-2 again because I feel like we keep saying 4-2.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change it up. I'm going to say 4-1, but if it's 4-2, I said it here first.
Wow. 4-1 Falcons?
Yeah.
Wow. Man, I've been driving the Falcons bandwagon for so long that I'm the driver of the bus. So I'm obviously going to go with my boys out of Saudi Arabia, out of the Middle East. I'm going to go with Team Falcons. But I don't think it's going to be 4-1. I think it's going to be a tough series. I want to say again, I'm going to say it's 4-2. I'm going to say Falcons 4-2. And let me tell you why. I think the mechanics, just the overall play style of FaZe Clan will greatly resemble what Falcons saw today with Team. But unfortunately for Falcons, or for FaZe I should say, I just don't think they're going to have the firepower needed. Now they might. It would not shock me at all for Falcons to drop a series. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I think this is a series Falcons should win. I think they have the strength. They have the players to be able to do it. Again, TRK didn't have a great day today, and they still got the job done. I think Falcons will come into tomorrow hungry, and they'll want to just punch their ticket and not have to deal with any sort of lower bracket nonsense. Because also, the loser of this matchup will drop to the upper-lower semifinal, which will then eventually, if you win, be the number 3 seed, which will, unfortunately... Oh, I guess you won't be. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, I thought the loser of this, if they went on to win the next one, would have to play Moist in round 1. But they would not. They'd be playing version 1 based off this prediction in round 1.
You act like that's a good thing.
It's a lot better than playing Moist. It's a lot better than playing Moist. But you would have to play Moist in round 2 of the playoffs, not the finals. So, definitely worth thinking about. Because if you can win this matchup, if you are Team Falcons, it guarantees you're on the opposite side of the bracket from Moist. You'll be on the same side with G2, but you won't have to play Moist until the grand finals. And I think they're your main competition. Obviously, with Moist being the number 1 ranked team in the world, currently Falcons being number 2, you want to try to avoid that matchup until as late as possible. So I'm saying Falcons 4-2. And I think we're going to be in for some terrific games. But do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up, Marvel?
No, I think all the games tomorrow are going to be really good. I'm excited to see how the lower bracket goes, though, because these upper brackets are tough, and they're all just really good teams. And, like with the really good teams, it's very just kind of stalemate-ish. And maybe that's just me trying to make predictions, because it's really hard to make predictions when all these people are just solid players. But I'm excited to see how the lower brackets go within the next couple of days here. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how people stack up against the ones who fall. I think it's going to be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to recap the schedule for everyone for tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, you're going to have Moist versus Semper, followed by FaZe versus Falcons at 1 Eastern, G2 versus Furia at 2 Eastern, and Team BDS versus Version 1 at 3 Eastern. And again, these are all your upper semifinals matchups. All 4 teams will have a second life. If they win, they're into the playoffs and they're your first 4 in. If they lose, they'll drop to the lower bracket and have a second chance come Friday and Saturday. So, not the end of the world for any of these teams, but definitely want to get it done sooner rather than later for your own seeding and your own mental health standpoints. But any closing thoughts other than that, Marvel?
No, I think that's it for me. Get your drops. Don't forget that.
Go get your drops. Well, other than that, I think that wraps it up for us here today at the Bar Down Podcast. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll catch you guys again tomorrow night following groups. This is day 3 action now tomorrow. So we'll catch you guys all tomorrow night. Stay tuned.